Hi, Arbindra here.
Yeah, hi everybody. Good evening and happy Mother's Day to everyone, like all the mothers. Respect to all the mothers. Anybody? Sangeeta and all. Respect to all the mothers. Okay.
Daughter already came and asked, is he the teacher? I said yes.
Okay. So let's start today. And as I just sent today's agenda, we'll start from where we left last time. We created VPCs. And we saw some other like private subnet and public subnet. We created some security groups, and in fact, we saw the basics. And I think somebody had some challenges, right? I tried to figure it out actually from the chat group. Who is that? But I somehow I could not find it. Is it joined today? Like some questions we had in the chat. If anybody can tell, like, okay. So anyway, so some of the things we'll quickly repeat what we did last time, and then we'll also move forward with a concept called Bastion host, and another is a NAT concept. So these two will finish today. And if time permits, then we'll go to implement our Wordpress application in a multi-tier environment. Like when I say multi-tier means obviously web server, database tier, and we'll apply security groups and all those things. And slowly that will kind of start our basics of our well-architected framework. So what we'll do is once this is clear, once the base is clear about the networking and the security group and other things, then that will give us the basics of creating our high availability architecture, that is the scalability architecture, how it can scale, how it can highly available, and how it will work in a different tier. All those things we'll look into it after this is clear, right? So let me see, share my screen. We have seen last time the BPC creation, right? What are the basics? How the BPC is getting when we create a BPC, what are the components gets created automatically, and what are those? We have seen those, right? And we have seen the concept of what is the private subnet, what is the public subnet, and we have seen what is NACL, what is root table. We have seen the security group. At least we know the concept now. I know it will be difficult to kind of visualize at a time if you are not from networking background, but that's fine. And that's why I'll repeat as long as these basics are not clear to everybody. Almost I'll take some 10 to 15 minutes in every session. I'll try to repeat deliberately, okay? So so that it becomes used to our understanding, like we become very used to it. That's the intention also, okay? So that everybody this would kind of blindly visualize what is going on. If you can do that, every other thing will be very easy actually, okay? So we have actually this one we created, right? So today what we'll do, this one also done. So what I have to today, let's see. Okay, what is that we want to achieve today is this one. I just created sometimes back this again, this architecture. So what we're going to do is, let me explain quickly what it is. Here, we are public, right? You, me, everybody, we connected from the publicly available internet. So in our home, we connect from the outside of the AWS, right? So it is internet. So we connect to the internet, and that is the data, the traffic travels to the internet gateway. It enters to the router, and it enters to the route table, and enters the NACL controls it, network accessibility layer, right? And then it enters different security groups. It controlled by the firewall. And then what it does is, I'll tell you what is the need of a Bastion host. Okay, what is the need? We have seen last time. If quickly, I'll come back to this slide again after showing. Let's go back to our AWS console. So here, let's go to the VPC. So this is our VPC, which we created. So I'm sure if, okay, I'll go to my Virginia to be kind of similar to your architecture, because you are new. Maybe you may have a default VPC and you have another VPC, right? When you create in your console, in your AWS console, if you create, you will have kind of this one you will find. If you see in the default VPC, this will be already created for you. And I have created this one, okay? BOC VPC1. So this is one I have created. And in that, by default, if you see, this 6 VPCs will be already there. This subnets, sorry, not VPCs, I'm sorry. So these subnets will be there already. And if you see, they are connected to 67E, which is the VPC ID, and that is the existing VPC. This one, right? So let me name it like default, maybe. So this is the default VPC already existing one. This is one we have created, and subnets. So what I'll quickly delete those. I'm repeating the same thing what we did last time. Quickly I'll repeat, okay? And internet gateway also, like I'll delete it. Just from the VPC. And security groups. Delete the security group. So that I want to kind of do it again so that people do understand it. Customer gateways and all those, so on and so forth. Okay, so kind of new. In fact, I can totally delete it, the VPC, so that I can create a new one. Delete the VPC maybe. Okay, so that it's clean, completely clean. Let me go quickly create a new VPC. So I call it again BOC VPC cider block 10.0.0.0.16, and tenancy is default, no IP v6, so I have to only v4, and create it. And we know what is by default. I don't want to repeat those. So BOC VPC. Now go to subnets, and before that, let's create an internet gateway. So internet gateway is nothing but the gateway which connects the VPC to the internet. So BOC internet gateway IGW created. And now, because this is not attached yet, so we'll attach it to our VPC, attach to the VPC which we just created, attach. So now we created it. Now create a subnet. I'll create 2 subnets. One is called maybe public, and in which availability zone I'll create in 1A maybe. Okay, so this is in east, so east 1A, to just give a hint where it is located. So it is in the BOC VPC, availability zone US 1A, cider block 10.0.0, because it can start from 0 also, 0.0/24, so it can have 255, right? So this is a public. I want to make it public. just naming, I'm giving a tag, but it is not yet public. By default, it is not yet public. Okay, so now create the subnet, another one, BOC private east, again 1A, in the same availability zone 1A, and 10.0.0.1, sorry, 1.0/24. So this is the IP internet, network ID I want to have, 1A. Okay, so this is what I have. Two subnets I created in BOC private and this public. Just I created two without configuring them. Let me just see what they are. When I created, as I selected, and I see by default which route table they have. And in the VPC, you see here, this has got the different NACL is connected and the route table is here. So these are the by default route table which is it's connected to. That is the main one. If you see 148, route table 148, which is connected to the default BOC VPC. So if you go to the route table 148, this is it's showing main route table which is assigned to it. And what are the subnet association? Whenever you create a subnet, by default it will be assigned to the subnet. Okay, by default all the subnets will be assigned to the main route table, because this is the main route table of the VPC. So both the subnets are assigned already by default. So, and what is the root of the route table? You see that they are just connected to each other. Okay, and local, that means they are already connected to each other. Both the subnets can route the traffic to each other by default. Okay, so that is what it's get it connected. Now one of our main aim will be public subnet. When we want to do it, we want to connect it to the outside world, right? So in the route table, if you go here, association, if you see, this was the subnet route association, it is going to the local, but it is not going to the outside world. So let's edit the route table, add a route to the internet. So I'll go to the main route table, okay, this one. And what is the route? Edit the route. And this is add a route. But remember one thing, what I'm going to do is, if I'm going to make our main route table connected to the public, there is a security risk. Let me clear it here. Why I am to point it here. This is logical. I can just add a route from my main route table. If I do it 0.0.0.0, this one is destination is anywhere in the internet. And if I just give it to the internet gateway, suppose, then what happens is my main route table is actually exposed to the outside world completely. Then what happens? Any new subnet I create, because we just saw that whenever a subnet gets created, by default, it is associated with the main route table of the VPC by default. So that means if I expose my main route table, I give a route, like I opened a door of the VPC to the outside world. So it is a security risk. So it is not recommended. We can do that. Let's see what we can do, but what we should do. There's a difference. So yes, we can open the door the VPC to outside internet, but should we do that? The answer is no. So what happens? Why we should not do it? We understand that. So create a different route table, not the main one. So like a back channel, create another door in the back of your house. So I am going to do that. So create a new route table. I call it BOC public. I make public and route table, and in the VPC of POC VPC, create. It's a simple name tag, and I'll give a route to the public here. So 0.0.0/0, and I'll make this one to the internet gateway. Then what happens is, now I created a door, maybe outside, a narrow door outside of back of my house, which can be a back channel. Who knows that there is a back channel, he can enter through that way. Who does not know, they cannot, right? If it is front of the house, if it is open for the public, anybody can enter. So here I created it. Now let's assign a particular subnet. See, it is simple a route. So this one, right? I am sorry, I think by mistake, the main one I created, which we should not. Okay, let me delete it, I think. Okay, save route table. Now, this is the, let me edit it. So this is the default. This is the default, and this is what we just created. So here I should have added 0.0.0.0/0, and this should be internet gateway active. Now I created. Okay. Now associate the subnet which I created as public. So now if you see here, this one I remember, BOC public, right? This one. So edit subnet association, and I'll select the public one, and I'll associate my route table with that only. Okay. And you see here, the following subnets have not explicitly associated with any route. Okay. And therefore associated with the main route table. So this one is associated with now with the main route table, the default one. Okay. Otherwise, you also can create another route table which is called private, but that is no need, because by default anyway we have no way to go outside from the default one. We have not added anything to the public, so by default it is private. Okay. So we have done that. Now we have created a private VPC. We have created a public VPC. Sorry, subnet, public subnet and private subnet. Let's go back and create our instance. I'll be fast here, so that now subnet. If you okay, another thing we just I wanted to I forgot to do that. Every time I think I forget that. The subnets, which by default here, the public, I want that public subnet should have by default public IP address should be assigned to it. So select public subnet and go to the modify auto assign IP settings. So here enable auto assign public IPv4. Okay, so this is done. That is the only thing I needed to do. Go to EC2, and so here's instance, launch instance, select, and here don't select the default, the BOC VPC, select it, don't select the default, and so I selected automatically the public one. Add storage 8 gig, that should be fine. Add a tag, let's call it web server. Name, keys name, and web server. Security group. So here security group, create a new one, because I don't have here anything. I don't have here by default one. So I'll create a new one and I will name it as my BOC DMG. What is DMG? I wanted to name it something like DMG. Anybody can answer? Demilitarized zone. Okay, it is DMG means demilitarized zone. So which that means that zone public is allowed. Okay, so that means all the public traffic will be allowed to this zone. So it can have SSH, and I will have a HTTP and HTTPS. Okay, and review and launch. So DMG, I'll also web. So BOC web DMG, review and launch, and launch. I have this security key pair launch instance. Okay, so this is one. Let me also launch another one in the private subnet, and to quickly just show it, launch another instance, and I'll create in the private one. This is one, and here I'll select the BOC VPC, and instead of public, I'll select in the private. In the private, we to say that we don't have any. That is what we last time we did also. So there is no way I can reach that. So here I said maybe what I name, and I call it a DB server. So instead of, I want to do a demo here that instead of maybe sometimes some instances people don't want to Oracle kind of thing. People don't want to use a AWS provided data, like the release like managed database they don't want to use. They want to have their own instance as the database server. So this is the way they can do it. So select, I'll create another which is called BOCDB maybe, okay? And it is a DB security group. So it is a DB security group. I want to allow SSH only, and also I want to the MySQL, okay, or Aurora. This is 3036. This two only I want to allow CIDR block. And you know what is the CIDR block? I want to allow the subnet of the public subnet. So that is 10.0.0.0/24. So from this subnet only I want to allow traffic. I don't want to allow anywhere else. So launch and launch instance. So we have two instances now open. So if you see here, we'll have two instances in two separate subnets. So here one is running, the web server is running in the public subnet. If you see here, this is a
Sorry to interrupt. Can you please go back to the configure security group page one more time?
Yes, I'll do that again. Okay. Yeah, definitely we'll go. Actually, we'll go there again. Okay. So you see here the security group, it is BOC web DMG. Okay. So if you click here, you will go directly to the security group, and here you can see what protocols or what ports are allowed. Here HTTP is allowed. Okay. SSH is allowed. HTTPS is allowed from IPv6 as well as IPv4. That means three. SSH, HTTP, and HTTPS. All the three are allowed. Okay.
Ancha, what is the difference between this? Can you go back, please? Yeah. What is the difference between this double colon slash
This is
0
IPv6.
and okay, and the first one is IPv4.
Yes. So this is, that means everybody. Okay. Whole internet from any IP. Okay.
Okay.
Any public IP. Okay. And this is any public IPv6.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So same thing, if you go to the other EC2 instances, to the DB server, and here I have attached to the BOC DB security group, And if you see this one, only I have allowed SSH. I have not allowed any HTTP or HTTPS. At the same time, MySQL 3306 port, I have only opened to the, it is not open to the outside world also. Actually, SSH, I should not, this is, I can actually, I will edit inbound. What I'll do is, this is allowed, this is quite security risk also. So what I'll do is, I'll put the same thing also, 10.0.0.0/24, both, okay? So now, you see only people or instance who are all in this subnet only allowed to talk to my database. Nobody outside world can talk to the database, right? Even if I cannot SSH to it directly. So that's finally I created, right?
So can we have this when the IP range given while we create the security group on the configure security group page, the
yes,
one
of
you
course
just
I did that same, right? Yes, we do. We can do.
No, /24, the range that you have defined after creating that
So
editing tag.
hold it. Any, when you create any subnet, obviously it comes with a prefix or called that is net mask, right? Without net mask, you don't define anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that means 24 is nothing but the net mask is 255. So you can have up to 251 IP addresses. So in that network, 10.0.0.0, in that from, that means from 1 is not allowed, of course. From 2 to 254, all are allowed to access the database. Okay.
Got you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's now connect. I want to actually here I want to go and introduce you to the Bastion host. Why there is a Bastion host required. Okay. That is my intention. So now let's log into this because I have a publicly available IP address. So now first only I can log into my web server, right? So here, SSH, let me go to SSH. Is it visible?
Yes.
So SSH -i. This is 1.pem. So EC2 user and the IP address. Okay. So now I logged in. Okay. So before moving ahead, I want to give a shortcut today. As we know that I purposefully did it so that everybody understand how to give the PEM file. Okay. This is the command -i. Okay. If you don't want to type every time -i, what you can do is there is called SSH add -k, and this is SSH add -k, and you can add pnayak 1.10. You can add this. So this is all one line it added. Then next time you don't have to give -i. By default, it will understood that there is a PEM file is added. Okay. So now if I do the same SSH EC2 user and the IP address, you see it is taken. Okay. So this is a shortcut. You can do that. Or you want to do, because when you have different PEM file, obviously you have to use again -i. But if you know that this is the main PEM file you have to use, you can add it to your terminal. Okay. So this is one thing. Then now, as if you know, last time what I did, I create, because from here, from this web server, from this web server, I have to now log in to the DB server, because you see the DB server does not have any public IP here. It is not available. That means I cannot reach it. There is no public IP address. Publicly, it is not available. How to reach? Only when from the subnet 10.0, because you see this is 10.0.1, and web server, this is 10.0.0. That is the subnet. So first I have to be at this subnet. That now I am in that subnet. If you see here, my IP address. So this is the IP address. That means I am in this subnet already. So from here only I can now log in, right? Now, for that, what I need to do, I should have my PEM file, which I showed last time. How to do it? I don't want to repeat that. But there is another way we can do that. Through a Bastion host. So this web server can, so here I called it Bastion web server, but actually Bastion host should be separate. Okay, maybe this is I just, so because I can have maximum of 3 instances, so I have to kind of find a shortcut. But ideally, I should have rather named it as a Bastion host. So in fact, I can name it here. Instead of web server, let me call it a Bastion. Okay. So for this Bastion host, I want to log in. Okay. Now how to, and what is Bastion host is, 1 minute. Now, same thing, SSH minus, I don't have to give minus I, EC2 user @ the public IP. So now I logged in. Can I log in SSH and without the IP address or without the this one, 203? Can I log in here? Let's see.
No, you didn't add the PM file.
Exactly. Yes, that's why I purposefully did that. I didn't add the PIM file, so it is showing that though I could go and do it there, but because I didn't provide the PIM file, so it is permission denied, right? We saw that. But I don't have public file, the key file available in this here. If you see, I don't have it. How to add it? Either I have to create it, which I created last time, right? I did a vi pnayak.kp and then opened the local PEM file. I copied it. Didn't I do that? I did it, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. So, but suppose there are hundreds of files, hundreds of different instances are there. So in the Bastion host, again, also in the Bastion host, if I want to save the PEM file, that is also a security risk. That means actually you are saving in a public instance, which is publicly available. You are saving your PEM file. Security, that is a security risk. I don't want to do that. That's why what you do is here during SSH, what you do -a and EC2 user and the IP address. So this is not the, this is the what is the public? During login to the Bastion host, right? -a. Let's see what it's doing. Now can I do that? You saw I could log in without the PEM file. Did
So
you
the
see
-a copying the PEM file to the server, Bastion server?
Yes. So this is the feature. That means anything I'm -a, ask the Bastion host or the host which is connected to, that means at this time, this is the IP address of the, so it asks any further communication. If I'm doing from here, it should add the PEM file by default.
So is it because you saved the PEM file earlier using SSH -k or
No,
something
I didn't.
command, right?
Last time means this is a new system, right? In front of you, I created. Everything is gone.
How it is getting PEM file then?
That's why it is forwarded. Okay. -a. If you don't do that, if you don't log
No,
in,
oh, -a from it should be looking somewhere to get it, right?
no, -a already attached it. Okay. That means a means also attached, right? So when I did this, this is my local system exit. This is my local laptop. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is my laptop locally now. Now I did SSH minus without this. Let's see, without -a. I did it, right? It is now logged into 10.0.0 network, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now can I do it? Permission denied, right? You saw it in front of you. Now, same thing. Now again I came back to my local. Now what I do is I simple did -a. Okay. And it allowed, right?
So it's just saving for a session and removing it. Just something like that, right?
So now as long as this session is active, -a session, you can do that, okay? Not every time. So every time you have to log in to your host. So what you do is then that means every time you have to add it, right? So there is another shortcut I'm going to say. First, I'm going taking one step at a time, okay? So now then every time suppose you forgot -a, then again you come back, again you have to add it. So for that, what you do is, there is a different way. What do you do? There is called, you create a file called config file for the SSH. I have done that. In the home directory, .ssh config. Okay. Oh, sorry. I have to come back to my local machine first. This is all gone. Okay. And this is exit. So this is my local, in my local laptop. Okay. Home laptop. So now vi, the home, this is home .ssh. .ssh is when you do SSH, there are always in your home directory, there is a .ssh directory created, okay, by default. In that,
This is not true for Windows.
it is true for Windows as well. In the home directory, it will be / user and then your name, and you see that there will be SSH. Okay. Or see, first of all, Windows does not have any SSH command, right? So you have to obviously do using putty. Sorry. So
it's a dot. Windows has a dot folder, right?
No, so because he's right. Windows does not create SSH .ssh because it does not understand the SSH command. There is no command. It is a putty command, right?
Correct.
Putty does that for us. So putty also there is a way. I'll tell that how to do it. Okay, but I'm talking about Linux systems. So here, vi your home directory .ssh and config. You create a config file and you add this much only. Host, you can give any name. I gave Bastion, okay? Then host name, you give the IP address of your Bastion host. Now here it is, the IP address of it is this one. I copy it and I'll paste it here. Okay, this is my IP address of the host. User is EC2 user, and I will add something called forward agent yes. Okay, so this is what I created. I save it. Okay, that's all. Now, what I need to do is, as whenever I want to connect to a Bastion host, simple do I write a command SSH Bastion. Okay. So that from it will read that config file, and it will take the IP address and it will connect to it. And it will also add that -a automatically. Okay. So now simple SSH 10.0.1.6, I believe. This is the one, right? If you see, should go through. Oh. Is it the DB server? Oh, sorry, it is 203. Control C. It is 203. Yes, see? Now, I don't have to have all those -i, then forward and creation of the PEM file and all. There is absolutely no need. So this is the way, but now it is all secured also. That means nobody can, without having the PEM file, first of all, that means only you. And another thing, now you all your security to the Bastion host. And I'll tell you my Bastion host what, there is a way you can allow SSH, create a separate security group called Bastion host security group. So let's create that first. And
So Pancha, this Bastion is a functionality of SSH.
Bastion host is a concept of securing your cloud instances. Okay, it is not SSH functionality, it is a concept. Okay.
Now, when you say in the last command, maybe if you finish, then later I can ask you, for sake of others.
Okay, so Bastion, let's create a Bastion security group, okay? Or I call Bastion host, specifically for the Bastion host, because you are exposing this particular host to the outside world and you are allowing SSH, which is a security risk. So all your security related expertise should be allowed to secure the Bastion host, because if that is compromised, everything gone. So that means you are creating actually a gate which is locked, and all the security you are putting all the two guards to always secure it. So that means you only allow SSH, nothing else. Okay, nothing else. And here, look, I don't want to show again my IP address. There is something here called, if you go to custom,
My IP.
Okay, there is something called custom, anywhere, and my IP. Okay,
My IP.
so I don't want to show my IP. Now, if you click my IP, here, your IP will appear. By default, it will understand, it will try to get from the internet what is your IP, and it will save it. Okay, so anywhere means anywhere, custom means custom. You can give a particular IP from where it should be allowed. And my IP means your own IP, public IP. So I don't want to give my IP here, but I possibly what I'll do is I'll stop sharing here, okay? And I'll add my IP, then I'll come back. Stop sharing. So now what I'll do is I'll add my IP here and save it first. Now I created and saved, okay? Now I'll go back and again I'll share. Okay, I share again. So now if you go to security group, I created a security group called, you see BOC DB security group. What happens? Where I did security groups. Didn't it get created? Where I created? 1 minute. WebDMG. It didn't get created. Sorry, maybe I clicked something else. Okay, I'll stop my sharing and I'll create first security group. Oh, okay. It's showing that I created the other VPC. By default, in the default VPC, I created it. So, okay, it's done. So now let me share the screen again. Okay, so now let's go here. Bastion I allowed. So instead of DMG, what I'll do is I will now remove that. But actually, dynamically, you can change the security group also. Let me tell you. Go to select it, Bastion, action, and go to networking, change security group. So previously, if you see DMG, now I have something called Bastion host. Okay, security group where only 22 port is allowed, nothing else. There is no HTTP, no HTTPS. So what I do is here, and I'll also this is the Bastion host and DMG, right? From here, if you see, I have allowed SSH. Actually, ideally, I should not allow SSH from any other. So what I'll do is, I'll edit all the, I remove all the SSH access. SSH I'll remove from any other security group. That means SSH nowhere else allowed, but only from the Bastion host. This is, you now see, this is Bastion host is allowed, and that is nothing but SSH from the source. Okay, and so Bastion, which is now only allowing the SSH protocol from my own public IP. Okay. Now we saw that what is Bastion host now? Same thing. Now this is particularly, this host is serving as a Bastion host. SSH Bastion, and now any IP I want to reach SSH 10.0 0.1.103, I think, right?
203.
203 should be SSH. Okay, so now one thing is clear. Now I even if without having public IP address of my private instances, I can reach them. Now, after reaching, should I do something? If I cannot do anything with this, like can I reach internet from here? Can I ping google.com? Can I? I can't, because there is no, it's simple instance running, but it does not have any route to the internet, right? Can I download anything to here? No. Can I install something? No. Can I yum install? Can I do? No. Then what is the use if I cannot do it, right? So there where NAT comes to play, like NAT comes to our help. NAT gateway, okay? If sudo yum is the command, install something called, let it be MySQL server, right? This will fail because it cannot reach internet. And to show that this will not fail once we install the NAT instances, okay? Or simple maybe sudo yum update -y. This will fail still. So I want to show that this will pass once we install a NAT server. And remember, NAT server is something, I have a slide for that. And this is what the Bastion host, okay? Today I'm planning to share this presentation to all of you. Okay, I have made some changes and I'll share this to you so that you can follow it. And NAT instance is nothing but which helps translating. NAT is network address translation. That is the full form of NAT. Okay, so NAT address translation is a method of remapping an IP address space into another, modifying the IP address. So it's a networking concept, don't worry about it much. But what is a NAT instance is actually, it helps our private instances to reach the internet. Okay, that's, you can, in a short, you can think that way. It is a helper for the private instances to have a route to the internet, and that's why
This is essentially creating a public IP, essentially by NATing.
Okay, so here it is. Okay, it is. I have given this route exactly how it goes. So now, if you see what we created, basically, this is the Bastion host we have created now, right? Which is, you see from the DB instance, I am creating a DB Bastion security group attached to it. So my DB instances reach to the Bastion security groups. Through that, I have reached the Bastion host. And now from here, rather, the other way. From here, I am here. I reached to the internet gateway, go to the router. Through the route table, I reached my Bastion host first. And from my Bastion host, through the security group, Bastion security group, I reached my DB instances through the SSH. This is the route. But this cannot go through this way to the internet because there is no route, right? There is no route table. Here to here, there is no route. So I cannot. So now what I have to do is, this route table, I'll route it through an instance here that is called NAT instance or NAT gateway, which will, I think I forgot to again add in my picture to add a route. Let me add that from here to basically, so this BH security group, I can add actually here directly. Okay, so actually this is the root. So let's create that. So now my DB host will take this root actually, and it is another way to go here to the root. Okay, so let's do that. So we now DB instance. So first what we'll do is we'll create a NAT instance. Okay, let's do that first. Then we'll see how to connect it to different. So here, go to VPC. Like internet gateway, we have to create a NAT gateway. Okay, like we initially, when we created the VPC, we attached internet gateway. So now similarly, we have to create a NAT gateway. And just create a NAT gateway, and it requires a publicly available IP address. And when you want to access a public IP, it is called elastic IP. In AWS term, it is called elastic IP. So first, create the subnet. And remember, the NAT gateway must be in a public subnet. It cannot be in a private subnet. This is an exam question. Sometimes they do ask, okay? So here is the BOC East, right? So I have to create in the public subnet. So select always the public one and allocate a IP address. So it is, you have to allocate a publicly IP address. So you have to allocate a elastic IP address, select it, okay? And this is the IP address that gets created. It is allocated to the gateway and create, simple created. Now, after that, you have to give a root, right? So that's why by default it came. It will not be of any use if you don't give any root. So that's why automatically, if you see here, when you when you click create, it comes a button called edit root. So you have to edit the root. Now, you saw that we have only one public, and this is the default one, right? So that's the main one. So because that is private still, so we have to click that and click the root and edit the root, add a root, and that has to be to the public IP. That means has to be from 0000/0 to the NAT gateway. And this is the NAT gateway we just created, and save the root. Okay. Now let's see NAT gateway. It will take some time. Now it is still pending. Okay, it will take some time to get created because it is an instance actually. It is an instance getting created for us. So that is it is called, now it is called actually managed NAT instance. It is previously 2 years back, it used to be a physical instance you create. It used to be a EC2 instances we used to create. So in fact, now also it is possible, but it is a legacy now. You don't have to do that because it's a managed service now. In fact, just to show you how to, you yourself can create a NAT instance. You can go here, launch an instance. Okay. If you go to community available AMIs, okay, here you type NAT, and you see there is a lot NAT instances available, right? Publicly available. So one of these NAT instances, you have to actually instantiate, or you have to create the instance to run it. Then by this one also will be a NAT instance as you can use. But let's not go ahead, because now it is directly given by the as a managed service from AWS. So NAT instances is now available, and it is also, we have given a root. Now let us see the same command, because previously you saw this is failed, right? Now let's see. Do you see that it is going? It's going ahead. It is installing updating the packages because it found a route to the internet. And what it did now, this I have given a root. You saw that I edited this root table, and you see I gave this one, right? Exactly this is the way I did it. I went to the root table, this one, and I added this particular thing, like so. So what I did, this root table, I allowed, I created, in that way I created this one actually, okay? From in that particular line, I created this line I created. So NAT instances, I allowed it to 0000. That means to the public. And this one, by the way, it was already created. Because when I create in the public one, I allow, right? This is the public. This is the public. When I created, this was by default was there. When you create in the public subnet, that's already there. So this one was there, and this is I created, and that's how I DB instance now, because by default it is already created this route table to this, it is already connected.
But DB instance was a private subnet, right? So it is attached to the main route table or not?
It is main. It is to allowed to the main route table. This is the main route table.
Okay, got it.
So we can actually tell that that is the main route table. So with that, this is now created. Okay. This route table I created. This is the public one, right? I call it, maybe this is public, and this is the main or default one. Okay, or this is the, and this is the main. Okay. So with NAT instances we saw and Bastion host we saw. Now, because we have 3 instances can be created. So by default, actually NAT also is, we have created a 1 instance, and these 2 are all different 2 instances. One is Bastion host, one is Bastion host. We have a web server, 2 instances here, and a Bastion and a NAT instances. We have 3 now. So if I'm executing another one, I have to pay. So what I have to do is I have to kill the Bastion host, because that is the concept I wanted to teach here. But I have to now create, instead of a Bastion host, what I'll do is I'll create a web server. Okay, so that through the web server, the DB server is accessed, and I'll serve the web server as a Bastion host as well as a DB server. As well as a web server. Okay, so in fact the same. I don't have to kill it, but I'll turn it as a web server. And now instead of the Bastion host, what I'll do is I'll change my security group to I'll go back. I'll change my security group to the DMZ, and I'll show that. And the DMZ, I'll go to the security group and add also the SSH, because I removed it previously. See, these are all you can modify anytime once you create SSH, and I'll give it to, let it be public. Okay, though it will complain that it is fully open to the public, but that's fine. Now what I do is, now web server is reachable, DB server is also is reachable to the public, so I can install yum. I have to, I think last time, if you see, I added my package manager. I edited my package manager to install this one, right? I installed the client, right? SSH here. think somewhere here, RDS, right? Okay. So let me create my package here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to install MySQL server this time, okay? So this is also a demo. Previously we created RDS, but now I am to actually install MySQL, okay? In this server, DB server, MySQL server, okay? Last time also same things. There is some issue, I think, in my URL. So I think some way it is failing. There is something here. I'll get it from the internet. I have to edit that page maybe in my presentation. There is some URL wrong. So here, even if you can search Google and do that. So simple is, no, this is not the right one. MySQL, go to the maybe Linode, I think this should be here directly from the MySQL site. It is better. Enable MySQL, so this is the one, I think. MariaDB or MySQL, anything should do actually. Let me check if it directly I can execute it if from the community. There should be something. Can I? No. This one. MariaDB. This is better. something. Client server, no, it failed. Some nowadays I found a lot of packages are broken because of this down, internet down on something, or I don't know what, or they're not maintaining in this.
No, those are alternate mirror sites.
No, that's
They may
I
not be available
understand.
sometime. Yeah.
But somehow it is a lot of problems. I'm also facing some other time. They're either broken or something not working. Many times. Nobody is maintaining or updating something nowadays, I think. No. So if you see, it is failing actually because it didn't found some of the alternate, right? So these are all it
Right
didn't find.
from this URL, right? The MariaDB KBNEM. I think the link. I think last week right from that URL.
So MariaDB. Let's see this one.
Yes, I think from that. Yeah, from this one, I think you tried to install.
It did work. Let's
Yeah, last time I think it worked.
one minute. Okay. So, and let me download the package also from, we have to install in the web server, we have to install the WordPress. So download WordPress. So here, what I'll do is copy link address, right? Now I'll go back to my, this is the web server. So what I'll do is wget this is the web server, and I'll unzip WordPress. And obviously I need to install the web server here, right? Sudo yum so httpd I installed, and now so what I'll do is I'll copy cp latest to var www html Okay. Now RM and latest. Okay. So this is the preparation I just did today. So what we will do is, now what I did is, I downloaded my WordPress package to my web server. And what I'll do is I'll simply go and enable systemctl start httpd systemctl enable so that httpd. Okay, so now if I actually do the public IP, I just to check if my web server is running or not, I'll just get the IP address of that server and just check if my web server is running or not. Right, so test base. So my web server is running now. Now I have to just get my actually web server, WordPress, WordPress. Okay, so and now I'm getting my WordPress package also. Now I have to install it. Okay, but before that I have to prepare my database. Okay, now I saw that this WordPress package which I have here, I just downloaded. This is the package. If you see, I'm getting the details of this package, this one, right? But it is not recognizing because PHP should be there. WordPress is actually PHP. So it is simple showing as if you see all the PHP files. It is not actually recognizing what these files are. This would be actually recognized as as PHP file. So this would be executed rather than just showing as it is. And so that we'll do in the next time. We'll install PHP in the web server first. Okay. Sorry. So we'll install PHP here in the web server. Then we'll also prepare our MariaDB database. Finally, once this is our PHP is installed, obviously we'll get the contents actually index, right? This index file, it should come as a PHP output rather than simple data.
Can you put index.php after WordPress in the link?
If you see, this is simple, right? Yes. So
okay.
it is not executing. Okay, it is not interpreting. So interpreter should be there. Okay.
Yeah.
Because PHP you have not installed. Even if I can install PHP here. So sudo yum install PHP 7, right? I think, let me see, or PHP, let's see. Still, MySQL, there will be a lot of dependency even if we do have, okay? So still, I have to restart the web server, of course, again, okay? So we'll see those again. Instead of doing this, we'll do a systematically next time. What is the time now? It is going to be 9, okay? So we'll completely see. I'll keep this instance as it is, just I'll shut it down. I'll not delete it. So that we'll exactly start from here. Installation of the PHP and the related packages to run WordPress. And also we'll create and prepare our MySQL database. And we'll communicate between both. And that's the way we'll understand that how web server is communicating a backend database server. And once we make it running, then we'll also see how we can have multiple web servers running the same thing in multiple availability zones, okay, for the high availability. And also we'll put a load balancer in front, and we'll connect the load balancer to multiple web servers, right? And see that how the load is balanced between two web servers and how they are communicating to the same database. And finally, also we'll see how we can have read replicas of the web server also. Okay, so these are the one by one. Slowly you'll go to an enterprise architecture where we'll see what is a well architected framework, what should be ideal framework for the whole architecture. One at a time we'll take. Okay, so this is the starting point of creating that architecture. I'll stop here today. Any doubt? In doubt, please let's. We'll have 2 minutes to discuss about anything if you want.
Not much.
Okay, great.
Pancha,
Yes,
But
please.
if you can share that PPT with us, then that will be great.
Yeah. So today I'm sharing it. I have already edited, so I am sharing it today. I'll convert into a PDF and I'll share.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
I'll ask on next time, Pancha, because I forgot what I wanted to ask you. I'll go through this session video.
Okay.
Then I'll ask you on the next session, because today's session was really bouncing session.
That's why I said I'll repeat maybe 10 minutes every session, so that I know it will not come at a time, very honestly. So it will take some time.
So much of contents.
Networking things, we all, I know we are not from infrastructure background. We may be developers. So even if I was the same thing, I went from a development background. It took a lot of time for me to understand the networking concepts, infrastructure context. So it will take some time, I understand. And that's why I'll repeat some of the things again and again. So that once we clear, then it will be actually easy. Okay?
And Lester, did you fix that access issues on GitLab?
Yeah, before Monday, Wednesday we'll do that. See,
Okay, no problem.
I'm single person managing everything. So
True. No, lots of appreciations. I mean, we are just trying to follow the sessions with that.
No, that's right. So before, I am also on demand. Okay, I'm making myself on demand. So before the Wednesday, I have to fix everything like that. What the demand comes, based on that I'll do. Because I cannot scale myself so much.
Absolutely. Thanks to you.
Yeah.
Honestly. Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.